I just can't get my hands off of using overlays. I just think an overlay combined with a sound effect that actually builds the atmosphere in the scene and makes the audience feel something instead of just seeing it. That's a bit of me, all right? And I just can't help it. I'm just using overlays all the bloody time at the moment and it's getting out of hand and it needs to stop. But I do think that when they're used in a very subtle way, combined with them sound effects, they're just sick. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you lot how I use overlays, how you can use overlays to emphasize the atmosphere in your scene, to build a feeling instead of just a crappy little scene. Thanks to Storyblocks for sponsoring today's video. It's actually where I get most of my assets. What's going on, you lot? I hope you're all sweet. Let's go straight over to Premiere Pro. You can be using any software on this. You can use Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut. So don't get your knickers in a twist. It'll all be fine. It's the same techniques all the way throughout. So, the very first shot from Color Grade and Chill 5.0, we're simply pushing into the scene. You lot know the Color Grade and Chills. Very vibey, very weird, dirty, grungy kind of scenes that I like to create. This is obviously a scene late at night where we're color grading late into the night, you know. We've got this key light, the light is coming from the screen, really emphasizing how dark it is in the room. That is obviously lighting up the table quite a lot as well. I've actually got a light like directly in front of my chest there to pour a bit of light onto the table, and also you can see a little bit of a rim on here, which is really cool. And that blue absolutely pumping through the window is a big light that I've stuck outside to emphasize that blue from Moonlight, you know, giving it that twilight, we're editing late into the evening kind of feel. However, let's play it back, yeah, like, don't get it wrong, it's cool. That little bass in the background is also pretty cool, but we can make this scene about 20 times more atmospheric simply just by adding an overlay in the bloody window. That rain looks a bit sick, combined with them sound effects, oh, and a little, you know, a little thunderstorm in the background, because who doesn't want a thunderstorm in their color grade and chill scene? I don't know anyone who don't want that, all right? So I'm gonna show you how we can do that today. So first things first, we're gonna go over to Storyblocks, because you lot know Storyblocks, and if you don't know, I'm gonna talk about them real quick. So Storyblocks is a massive library of stock and royalty-free assets like stock video, overlays, you've got animations for loads of different softwares, and they have got unlimited licenses for personal and commercial use that you can use on any type of project. For solo shooters, they've got subscription plans for professionals, they've even got subscription plans for massive big corporation and media companies. So if you think you can benefit from having a really big library of assets you can dip and dive into whenever you want, for me that's absolutely essential for what I do being a commercial filmmaker, then go and check out the link in the description. That is going to send you straight over to Storyblocks so you can see what they've got to offer. So let's go over to Storyblocks and let's type in, right, we want rain. So let's go with raindrops falling. Now we want to try and find an asset that's going to fit really, really nicely over that window. So that isn't going to work, because what we need is we just want them raindrops with a dark background. So something like this, obviously not that because it's in slow motion. That is actually pretty damn perfect, and it's also backlit, which is what we want because we've got that moonlight coming in from the background. Let's go with that, mate. So let's download that bad boy, 4K. Bosh. Next thing we're going to do is bring that into our project, and I'm going to actually just drag that shot over the top of my previous shot. Let's bring that all the way through. Now, once we've got that shot on top of our timeline, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down my opacity just so that I can kind of see what I'm working with. Next, we're going to want to actually increase the scale of this bit of rain that we're going to stick outside, even though it's going to technically be inside. So what I want to do is I want to bring the rain over the part of the window that we are going to want to have it on. Now the hard thing about this is the fact that our frame is actually moving. In this shot we push into the scene, meaning that everything gets bigger the closer we get to myself in the frame. Therefore we're going to have to expand and increase the scale of the rain over the window. So let's leave our rain here. Now you can see the edge of our raindrop frame pretty much sits just on the inside of my speakers here. So as we push into the frame, I want to go to that end point which is there. That's our last frame. And I want to make sure that that is sitting on the edge of my speakers again. So somewhere about there. And obviously we're going to have to bring this up massively because the bottom sits about there. Right, you know what? That looks a bit bloody naughty to me. Perfect. That's all we bloody needed to do. Right, so next up we're going to go over to opacity, and I'm actually going to click on this right here. This is going to bring up a mask so that we can literally mask right around our window so that we only affect the part of the frame that we want to affect. Boom. Right, let's have a little look at that. I am going to have to stick a mask path in there because as we move forwards we are going to have to change it, even though that is actually pretty damn good. That wasn't too bad at all. And as we get a little bit closer, my head seems to pop up a bit. So let's give it a little bit of a... Let's chuck that on the edge. Damn, that's pretty damn good. Now, the main issue we've got at the moment is the fact that the rain is actually in front of the window frame here. So we don't actually want the rain inside, we want the rain outside. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our blend mode and we're going to click on overlay. Now you're probably looking at that thinking like, we've lost all of the light outside. Yes, we have. So you know what we can do, and one of the best things to do is to get a lumetri color, and we're going to slightly color grade this particular shot to give us the desired look and the desired effect. So if you look at our overlay now, we can do all of this kind of stuff with it, and we can really kind of dial it in the way that we want to dial it in. So for me, I want to keep it blue outside, and I want to make it look like that moonlight is really pumping, but I want to emphasize them raindrops quite a lot. So something about there is what I'm looking for. And you know what looks sick? You know when the rain comes through the window and it kind of leaves a little bit of a shadow? I think that looks so cool on the window frame right here. Damn, I love it. But you know what? It is a little bit rough. It's a little bit hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little blur in there. Let's get a little blur in there. Where are we? Let's go with a fast blur. There we go, boss. Right, pull that in. Now let's blur our little overlay by about, what? 11? Is that too much? Oh. Now we're getting somewhere, mate. Is it me, or does it look like it's bloody raining outside? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to feather off the mask ever so slightly, just because it is a bit rough. So let's go with that. Now let's give that a play back and just see how that looks. Damn. That makes such a big difference in the frame. To me, that just builds the atmosphere. And you know what? Let's just make it a bit double naughty and stick a little bit of sound effects on there. I feel like I'm in the scene now. I don't feel like when there's an overlay and there is also that sound effect in there, I feel like I'm there. I don't just feel like I'm watching it on a screen. For me, the biggest things that actually pull the audience into the scene is the sound effects and also little cheeky overlays like that really build the scene. And for those of you that want to know about, you know how I do the old like lightning bolt, I pretty much just add a lumetri color on my main shot. So let me go over to lumetri. In fact, you know what? I think this probably deserves like a whole bloody video on it. So I'm just going to show you real quick, and then we'll do something. So let me get a little overlay. Tell you what, let's do it halfway through. Now I want everything in this scene, other than pretty much myself, to light up. So I'm going to select the inverse of this. So let's invert that. Now let's bring up the scene. Oh, not so much on the screen. Actually, I definitely don't want it on the screen because that ain't quite going to work, is it? So I'll tell you what, let me take the screen and everything else can blow up. So inverted on that. So I'll tell you what, let's do it slightly differently because we're going to need to stick a keyframe. So a keyframe with nothing going on. The next one, let's give that a 1. Oh no, let's give it a 2. A 2 will do. Next frame, let's give it a 0.5. Next frame, 0. Now watch this. Not being funny, mate, it's that simple. People seem to think that the whole lightning situation is really hard. It's chill. I might do like a whole tutorial on that whole lightning scenario, because I feel like a lot of people would enjoy that and they'd get a lot out of that, because they can use that in their films. You'll notice throughout a lot of my films, I really like to play on that, because I don't know, like, I love elements so much. You know, I love the wind, the rain, I love fire, and I feel like that. I get feelings off of that, so that's why I want to stick it in my films. If you did like it and you ain't been here before and you never met me, and this is the first time I met you, nice to meet you, I'm James and that, go chuck a little subscribe in there, because we can be mates, basically. And if you don't want to, that's fine. There's millions of other videos on the YouTubes. Also, go and check out Storyblocks. They're great, mate. Like, I use them all the time. I'm not even kidding. Anyway, people, thanks so much for watching. I'll be catching you lot in on the next one, mate. Bosh. Fucking hell, James, you're actually losing the plot.